Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game preview ahead of Everton's Premier League fixture on Sunday afternoon against West Ham United. An extremely difficult fixture for Carlo Ancelotti's Everton, coming up against David Moyes' West Ham United side, who have been absolutely excellent this season. A team that at the start of the season, I think the majority of football fans and probably West Ham fans themselves would have said, might be hovering around the mid-table places, might potentially push for a potential place in the Europa League spots. When you used to say in May with 5-6 games to go, you'd be sitting, comfortably in the Europa League spots with a real challenge for the Champions League. I think that they've all absolutely snatched your hand off. And look, West Ham have been very, very, very good this season, and this is a difficult game for Everton Football Club. It's a difficult game under any circumstance. It'd be a difficult game if we were playing well at the moment. It'd be a difficult game if, we were sort of comfortably in that European position. But let's be realistic, we're not, and we're not playing very well whatsoever at the moment. We're really, really struggling. West Ham's form and West Ham's, I think, sort of momentum is very high at the moment, and Everton's is absolutely rock bottom, where, we've been very, very poor recently. Even though we got a big win against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, it still wasn't a great performance. Last time out against Aston Villa at Goodison Park was an utter shambles. I labelled it, for me, the worst defensive performance of the season. We got absolutely ran riot by Ollie Watkins, and we didn't really turn up at the other end of the pitch either. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a chance, obviously got a goal, which was really important, but other than that, there wasn't much happening whatsoever. And look, ultimately, again, like I said, Everton at the moment with 5-6 games to go before the end of the season are really, really struggling. And this was an Everton team that we all spoke about our aspirations of finishing in the Europa League and how good it would be to be finishing in the Europa League and playing in there next season. But I think certainly after that Aston Villa result, I think we all sort of feel like it's probably a little bit too far, a little bit too much of a stretch now. Now, don't get me wrong, if we go and beat West Ham on Sunday away from home, I think the hopes will all come flooding back, and we'll be saying, is there a chance? I mean, ultimately, just touching on a European finish for the second before we get into the game preview. Look, again, I said it last week, if we turn up on Sunday and we win, I'm going to try my absolute hardest not to get my hopes up, because knowing Everton will turn up on Sunday and beat West Ham away from home, because firstly, we're away from home and we've been very, very good away from home this season. I think we've got the third best away record in the Premier League. It's at Goodison Park. We've been in absolute shambles, but our next home fixture is against Sheffield United at Goodison, a team who have already been relegated and a team who, have been really, really poor this season. So if this was any other football club, you would say, right, okay, you beat West Ham, then brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You go on, you've got Sheffield United at home, surely that's a win. You've then, really, really within the touching distances of those European places, still with that game in hand against Aston Villa. But because we're Evertonians, I'm sort of sitting here thinking, if we go out and we beat West Ham on Sunday, then that's absolutely brilliant. But I've got no confidence in us whatsoever to go out and beat Sheffield United at home in 2 weeks' time. I just don't. We've done it numerous times before. We've done it last game of the season against Bournemouth last year. They were already relegated, turned up and played us off the park. The season before, and we were in a fight for Europe, and we turned up at Fulham, who were relegated, and they beat us off the park as well. So listen, again, like I said, mathematically, and if we can get a bit of momentum going, the fight for Europe is still on, although I don't really want to talk about it too much, because again, it's very, very frustrating when you think about results like, where Aston Villa and Fulham at home and Burnley and etc. We've spoken about all of those games a number of times before, but the reality of the situation is, if we can get a big win on Sunday, it'll be absolutely massive, and again, it'll be a real, ultimately it'll be a real sort of boost for us come the last sort of 4 or 5 games of the season. And it will mean that, hopefully we can get a little bit of momentum going. Like I said, I'm not confident because it's Everton and we've still got home games to play, and we've been dreadful at home this season, but it's another must win, and I'm sick of saying it, and I know everybody's sick of hearing it, and I know we're all sick of saying this game's a must win. Luca Dean's come out this week and labelled this game as a final for Everton, and it is a final, and these players should be thinking of it as a final, because ultimately, look, if we win I'm still not confident we'll finish in a European position, to be perfectly honest with you, because I do think that, again, I'm really, really not confident about the game against Sheffield United. I'm really, really not confident about any game at Goodison Park, to be honest with you, even Wolves at home on, the penultimate game of the season with fans in. But if we lose this game on Sunday, then I think you can really sort of kiss goodbye to European football. I think that's it then. That's European football out the window, really. West Ham are a direct competitor, I'd say, with Everton in terms of those top 6-7 places, although I think West Ham will finish above Everton this season, and so they should. Have played brilliantly throughout the entire course of the campaign, but ultimately, if they win on Sunday, then they take another 3 points ahead of Everton, and your likes of your Tottenhams are picking up points at the moment. They're in a decent little run of form. I know Arsenal aren't very good, but they're below us anyway. So you look at it ultimately on Sunday and you think, if we don't win, and Leicester, West Ham, of course, will have won if they beat us, Tottenham, etc., that Chelsea, they all pick up points, then it probably is a little bit of a stretch to finish in Europe, and that will be really, really disappointing. But like I said, it all rides on this one, really, and I'm sick of saying it. I really, really am sick of saying it, because ultimately it only rides on this game if we go out A and win it, and then B, don't absolutely flat bottom next week against Sheffield United, or don't throw away the game in hand against Aston Villa, or turn up at Goodison against a team like in Wolves who we should be beating and beat. We can sit here all we like and say Sunday's a final. Well, yeah, it's a final if we win, and it gives us that bit of momentum, and it gives us that bit of fire and fight to go on and put in a couple of decent performances before the end of the season. It means absolutely nothing on Sunday if we go out and beat West Ham and then turn up next week and lose to Sheffield United, or turn up in a couple of weeks' time and lose to Aston Villa in the game in hand, or Wolves in the penultimate game of the season. So this is my issue with Everton, is it's so hard to sit here and say, oh, this game is a must win, this game is a final for Everton, because it's not the last game of the season. If we were sitting here and if this was the last game of the season, and if we win, we get in Europe, if we don't, we don't, then yeah, it's a final for Everton. This is a big, this is the big game, it's the be all and end all. But realistically, Everton could win this one and then not win another game this season. For me, we have to win every game between now and the end of the season. Certainly every game before that game against Manchester City on the last day of the season. Again, look, Manchester City, and by this point Manchester City might have already won the Premier League and be preparing for it, but they will be preparing for the Champions League final. So maybe Manchester City's focus won't be on playing Everton in the Premier League on the last day of the season, so we might get a slight free hit there. I doubt it, because Manchester City could put out their 9th team and still beat Everton, but there's no point in us saying we need, it's a final on Sunday if we're going to go and get beat to Sheffield United the week after. So we need to win every one of our remaining fixtures practically, other than, well, I'm not saying other than the Manchester City game, but certainly, every game between now and then. West Ham, Villa, Wolves, Sheffield United are all games that we need to be winning. But look, West Ham are in absolutely fantastic form this season. They've had an absolutely brilliant season. They really, really have. And David Moyes deserves a lot of credit for what he's managed to do with West Ham this season. And that isn't easy for me to say. To be honest with you, it wasn't, because I remember Everton being linked with David Moyes before Carlo Ancelotti come in, and I thought, no, don't want David Moyes. He wouldn't improve us. He wouldn't be able to take us to that next level. And maybe in the long run, we were right, and maybe in the long run, David Moyes won't be able to take West Ham to that next level. But what we know David Moyes does, and what he did at Everton when he come in, and he was allowed, 2, 3, 4 years, of course, before he ended up being here for a decade, didn't he? But when he was allowed time and responsibility to do what he needed to do and do what he wanted to do, he stabilised the football club. He brought in players that, weren't big, massive names who have played in big, massive competitions and are seeing Everton as a step down, but coming into the club who wanted to prove themselves, had a point to prove, had a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, had that fire in their belly. And this is exactly what he's done to West Ham United. I think when they employed him the first time round, they sort of expected David Moyes to go out, and I think they had these big ideas of grandeur, really, which is with this big massive club, and because they've got this big brand new stadium, they were going to go out and sign the best players in the world, and they'd be playing Champions League football within the next 2 or 3 years or so, and that was never going to be the case. Whereas this time round, they've brought David Moyes in, and they've sort of gone, do you know what? You just do what you do best. And David Moyes has gone, right, okay, I'm going to bring in 3, 4, 5 players who nobody has really heard of, or people have, knocked down, like Jesse Lingard, who everyone sat there and said is not good enough. I remember Everton being linked with Jesse Lingard, and I sat here on the channel and said, I don't want him. I don't want Jesse Lingard. He's not good enough for Everton. He wouldn't come in and make the difference. And the irony is, Jesse Lingard is exactly the type of player we need in this Everton team at the moment. And that's what David Moyes does ultimately as a manager. Not only does he stabilise the team, not only does he make you very, very difficult to defend, very, very difficult to break down. They defend really well, they play some nice football, but he also, in terms of the transfer market, he doesn't go out and try and sign the best player in the world, or he doesn't go out and try and sign the best player or the biggest name that the club can sign for the biggest wages to go, oh my god, look at us, we've signed this name, we've signed that name. He goes out and he brings in players like Souček, who I'd never heard of before, and I'll openly admit that I'd never heard of him. He's come in this season and he's been compared a lot of times to Marouane Fellaini, who of course we know massively played for Everton under David Moyes. A lot of people have said, Souček's David Moyes' Fellaini for this West Ham side, and Souček's been absolutely excellent. His goal involvements this season, goals, assists, he's big, physical in the centre of midfield, he's getting in the opposition box, scoring goals, he's defending in his own box, he's putting his head in harm's way, coming away with cuts and injuries. He's a warrior, he's a battler, but he's also technically a good footballer, exactly like Marouane Fellaini was, a warrior, a battler, but also technically a good footballer and could chip in with goals. Marouane Fellaini was getting 5 or 10 goals a season from centre defensive midfield position. He even got to a point where later on in his Everton career, Marouane Fellaini was playing as a striker because he was that big, physical, powerful presence, exactly like Souček is. Soufal, who I didn't know much about whatsoever, he's coming down that right hand side and he's been, he's getting down the wing, he's putting balls into the box, he's defending well. Jesse Lingard for me is the big one. Absolutely, it's unbelievable the turn in form that Jesse Lingard's had, but realistically, should it have been unbelievable the turn in form that Jesse Lingard's had? Because Jesse Lingard's gone from a club that obviously he holds very dearly in his heart in Manchester United. He's grown up supporting them. But he's gone from a club where he's probably looked at the start of this season and gone, do you know what? I'm not going to get many opportunities here. And David Moyes has put his arm around him and gone, come here, mate, come here. Prove that you're good enough to be playing in a team that are challenging in Europe. Prove that you're good enough to be playing in a team that are challenging for the Premier League. And go and prove yourself. And Jesse Lingard's come into West Ham with that fire in his belly, with that chip on his shoulder almost of, you know what, actually, I am going to prove myself. And the reason I'm talking so positively about this West Ham team is because this is what I want Everton to do. I don't want Everton to go out in the summer and sign Philippe Coutinho, who was absolutely brilliant 6 years ago before he picked up injury after injury after injury. And he obviously got older and he lost his pace. I don't want Everton to go out and sign Gareth Bale, who was brilliant 5-10 years ago. If they were still the player they were then, they wouldn't be coming to Everton. I don't want Everton to go out and sign Sergio Aguero. For as good as he is of a finisher, and you might never lose that, he'll spend 99% of the Premier League season out injured. I don't want these types of players. I want Everton to go out and almost do what West Ham are doing and go out and sign these players that I've got that fire in the belly. I've got a point to prove. And I'm not saying we should have gone out and signed Jesse Lingard, by the way, because I said I don't want Jesse Lingard. But we need to go out and sign young, promising players who have got a point to prove, who have got a chip on the shoulder, who have got that little bit of, don't you know what? I'd rather have, put it this way, I'd rather have a player coming up from the Championship who is thankful for his opportunity in the Premier League. And I'm not just, by the way, I said this on Wednesday when we done the Talking About Transfer show, I don't just mean go out and buy any old shite who wants to play in the Premier League. Obviously the players have to have quality, obviously they have to have ability, obviously they've got to have that, that they've got to show that promise, that potential, that quality. But I'd rather have a player that's got all of that promise, potential and quality that's coming up from the Championship than one that has got all of that promise, potential and quality but is 30 odd years old, has had injury issue after injury issue over the last 5 or 10 years and is dropping down from a Barcelona, a Real Madrid. I know it worked with James and that's fine. It's great to have one James Rodriguez in your team. He's brilliant, he's excellent, he creates for us. His goals have been great this season, his assists. But what we've seen with James this season is a lot of Evertonians have gotten frustrated at the fact that he spent a lot of time out injured. What did we expect? We all knew when he was coming in that he was going to spend time out injured. We all knew he wasn't going to play 38 games in a season and be absolutely 100%. We knew he'd have injury issues as he has had for the last 2 or 3 years. It's brilliant having one James. We don't need a team of Jameses. Like I said, I'd rather go out and do what West Ham have done and sign those players from the lower leagues or even from the Premier League with the ability and the quality, but they've got that fire in the belly, they've got that chip on the shoulders that I want to improve. I want to prove myself that I can be one of the best players in this league, rather than those coming down going, yeah, I'll go to Everton because they'll pay me a lot of money and I won't really have much expectation on me. No, and ultimately, that's what David Moyes has done at West Ham. He's brought in players that are good quality players, big physical players, suit the Premier League down to a T, but also weren't very well known, or, in Jesse Lingard's sense, at a point to prove. You know, put his arm around him and said, you've got quality. We all knew Jesse Lingard had ability. We all knew he had quality. But the question always with Jesse Lingard was, is his mind in the right place? Is his attitude right? Well, David Moyes has all come in and gone, listen, if you don't do it at West Ham, mate, then you're never going to do it at Man United. So get your head down and prove that you can be. You are good enough to be a player that's challenging, that's in, starting in a team that's challenging in Europe. And that's what he's done. And like I said, this is going to be an extremely difficult game for Everton Football Club, an extremely difficult game. West Ham United is currently sitting 5th in the Premier League, 17 wins, 7 draws, 10 losses, 58 points. I think they're 3 points behind, jumping into that top 4. Home record this season has been absolutely excellent, which is something that, I wish I could say about Everton. Obviously, they beat Burnley last time out 2-1, come back in that game, and again, look, West Ham, David Moyes' West Ham side, then they don't win. They're not like Manchester City where they're winning games 5, 6, 7-0 comfortably. There's been a number of games this season where they've scored 3. I remember they scored 3 in the first half against Arsenal. Drew that game. I can't remember who it was against, but they done it again a couple of games after. They scored 3, and the team that they were playing against come back to 3-2. And in the last 5 or 10 minutes, it was dead nervy. If you're a West Ham fan, you're probably absolutely made up, but you're probably sitting behind your couch biting your nails watching the game. But ultimately, that's all well and good saying that. We can't all be like Manchester City, where their fans probably sit there and go, yeah, I reckon this will be about 4 or 5 today, and it is about 4 or 5. It's all about winning games of football. Even if you're winning games of football and it's a little bit tense in the last 5 or 10 minutes, like it was for West Ham against Burnley, then that's all that matters. And they're winning games of football. Like I said, they've got a really good home record, which I wish Everton had. We've got a really good away record, which gives me a little bit of confidence going into it, because we're away from home. If we were at Goodison for this one, I just wouldn't even bother, to be honest with you. But look, I can't lie. I'm not very confident for this one. I'm really not very confident. I think West Ham are the informed team this season, and I think they're a tricky team as well, because Everton have come up against really good sides this season in terms of your Chelseas, and we're beating them, your Arsenals, and they're not a really good side, Arsenal, but big club, if you like, we're beating them. Your Liverpools, we've beaten them. We got a draw at Old Trafford against Manchester United. West Ham are sort of a team that at the start of the season we wouldn't have classed in that bracket, but now are fully well in that bracket. Even Leicester, we haven't lost to Leicester all season. Home, beat them away and drew with them at home. They're a team at the start of the season you'd have said, oh yeah, they're in that bracket of the top teams in the league. They'd probably take Arsenal's place, but West Ham weren't, whereas now West Ham are. So I think it's going to be a really tricky one, even though we are very good away from home, even though we seem to be a lot better defensively away from home. I don't know why. I just think this is going to be extremely difficult, and if there's anything that David Moyes does really well, if you're watching live, by the way, get your thoughts in the live comments. We will get involved in the live comments as much as possible. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're enjoying, please do hit that like button. If you could share the stream, it would mean a great deal to me. Get as many people involved as we possibly can. But yeah, if there's anything David Moyes does really well, he tends to prioritise. I don't think he prioritises games, but I think he understands that there's certain games in a season that he won't win, and I think he's understood that with West Ham. It might be your Chelseas, which who they lost to a couple of weeks ago, your Man United, your Man Cities, but then he looks at all of the other games and he goes, right, we'll win them. And ultimately, forgetting the Big Six and the Super Six and all that crap, there's probably only, for West Ham, there's probably only, 6, maybe 7 teams better than them at the moment in the Premier League. And David Moyes probably looks at that and goes, well, if we don't get wins against those 7 teams, but we guarantee wins against the other 12, 13 teams, then we're already in a really good position, and we'll pick up points against those better teams because they'll have off days. So, yeah, again, look, I think West Ham have been on brilliant form this season. I don't particularly like West Ham. I don't, but again, you can't knock them, can you? And ultimately for Everton, this is a big test, a massive test. Like I said, we're away from home, and genuinely this season we've got one of the best away records in the Premier League, and it's not, although the Arsenal game was a little bit difficult to watch, and that was a bit lucky that we come away with the win. most of the time it hasn't been luck, most of the time it hasn't been fluke, most of the time we've genuinely performed a lot better away from home than we do at home, and it's annoying. It really, really is annoying, because it frustrates me how we can go from being very, very, very good away from home to being absolutely abysmal at Goodison. It frustrates me, the fact that the defence can go from having a really, really solid game and putting in a fantastic performance away, and then playing at Goodison Park the week after and being an absolute shambles. I just don't get it whatsoever. I really, really don't. But there is a little element of confidence in me, thinking, do you know what? Maybe we're going to take this game a little bit more seriously. Maybe there'll be a lot more concentration on this game, because ultimately the reality of this situation is, if Everton don't turn up and perform on Sunday, we'll get bounced. We'll get absolutely bounced. West Ham are a team that play with fluidity. They're mobile. They get about the pitch. They play good football. They defend well. They're everything that Everton aren't at the moment. So if we don't turn up and perform, this could be like Wolves towards the back end of last season, where we were sort of thinking going into it, right, these are beatable, but they're also, this season have been a lot better than we have been. So how is this one going to go? And we turned up. We didn't really look interested. We didn't really look like we were involved. And we got bounced off the park. We got battered by a Wolves side that, as proven this season, aren't even that good. Granted, they've had some injuries which have hurt them massively this season, but they're not that great. But we got bounced because we turned up. And this is my point about West Ham. This isn't just a case of, well, we're away from home, so we'll perform a lot better. Again, I'm just worried that there's going to come a time between now and the last couple. We've only got a couple of away games, haven't we? One Manchester City, which we discard. So I just worry that there's going to become a time, either this or the Aston Villa game, this game or the Aston Villa game, where we turn up away and we lose because we're not a good enough side, and the side that we're playing against are much better, and they're not one of those top sides like a Chelsea or a City, which you look at and you go, yeah, well, we lost to a better side there, but they are, they're 2 Champions League finalists, they're two of the best sides in the world. I just fear that there's going to become a point where we lose away from home to a side that are much better than us, but shouldn't be much better than us realistically, and that's where we'll all sort of sit back and go, yeah, there's a lot of work we already know there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this squad, but I think that'll be a real reality check. One thing I would say is West Ham are 3, 4, 5 games away from playing in European competition, so there's a lot of pressure on West Ham. The pressure for this game shouldn't be on Everton. And I know players come out and say, we want to fight for Europe, we want to battle for Europe, we want this, we want that. The pressure's on West Ham. Absolutely on West Ham on Sunday, because they've got to continue now winning games of football and picking up points between now and the end of the season. West Ham, as good as they've been this season and as consistent as they've been, if they don't win another game between now and the end of the season, if they go and lose their last 5 games and everybody else around them pick up points, i.e. your Everton, your Tottenham, your Chelsea, your Leicester, West Ham could finish 8th this season, having been a couple of points away from 4th. I'm not saying they will finish 8th, I don't think they will, because I think David Moyes has got them very, very consistent. He's solidified them. He's made them a real difficult team to break down. He's made them so compact. So I don't think they will throw it away. But my point is, if they, the pressure ultimately for West Ham is keeping it up between now and the end of the season, because if they don't, they could fall down the table massively. It's very, very tight in those European places. It really, really is. So, like I said, Everton should be feeling the pressure for the mere fact that we've been absolutely shite recently, and if we're shite again on Sunday, we'll get bounced. But should also understand that West Ham have got a lot of pressure on them, so step up to West Ham. Don't sit back. Don't watch them do what. Don't allow them to just walk through the midfield. Step up to them. Give them something. Get at them. Put them on their toes. Make them sort of a little bit worried. Make them think, oh shit, oh my god, what's going on here? These are these are actually, getting at us here. They're trying to force something. Do I think Everton will do that? I don't, to be honest with you. I really, really don't. I look at the potential Everton starting 11. I look at the squad, and I just think we just have not got the mobility to keep up with anyone really at the moment. And West Ham are a team who have got quite a mobile midfield. They've got quite a mobile side. They get about, they work for each other, they work hard, they're constantly running. And I've picked out one name in the title of this live stream. We must stop Antonio running this game. If there's one thing that was so evidently clear on Saturday against Aston Villa, is that we just allowed Ollie Watkins to run riot. Mason Holgate and Ben Godfrey just allowed Ollie Watkins to do what he wants. Get the ball, knock us off the ball, bounce us round, beat us for pace. Again, the first goal, a mistake, dilly-dallying on the ball. Michail Antonio is is a striker that will do that. He'll have watched that Aston Villa game last week and gone, yeah, I can do that against Aldgate. I can do that against Godfrey. I can bully. Because he's a big lad. He's physical. He's quick. He's skillful. He can score goals. He'll be looking at that, thinking that Aston Villa game, thinking, yeah, I can really run these riot here. And that's why I've put it as the title of this live stream. We have to stop Antonio running this game, because if we perform defensively like we did last week against Aston Villa, Antonio will have a field day, an absolute field day. And then he's got the likes of Souček, Lingard. To be honest with you, I'm really, really worried about this game. I'm really, really worried. I am. I look at it and I just think, I can see us getting embarrassed, but not embarrassed like 6-7-0 embarrassed, but just played off the park. And I can see West Ham turning up and just having an easy game, to be honest. And that'll really, really frustrate me, because it shouldn't be like that. Yes, they've been better than us this season, but if you look at West Ham's side, you look at West Ham's team and you compare it directly to our team, are they really any better? Of course they're better, because they're playing better, but quality-wise, have they got much more quality than Everton have? I don't think they have. It's just that their team perform as a team and our team don't. Their team have got mobility in them. They've got players that can run, physical players, and we don't. We've got a midfield of Andre Gomes who doesn't want the ball. Again, Alex Iwobi on the wing who couldn't be arsed being there. So, look, yeah, I don't know. I'm really not confident for this one, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's get into the live comments. I'm not confident, but the team have to be confident. The team have to understand that they've got a good away record, and that West Ham have got a lot of pressure on them, and hopefully go and, like I said, step up to West Ham. We'll get into the live comments then. If you're not enjoying the stream so far, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, like I said, share the stream, try and get as many people involved as we can. Just uploaded the weekly news roundup as well. I haven't done a weekly news roundup for absolutely ages, so I thought we'd sit down today and talk about all of the latest Everton news. So that is up on the channel. Please do check that out after this live stream. Anyway, let's get into the comments. Eugene says, Doucouré back in full team training now. Yes, we've just seen the pictures. Everton have literally just tweeted out some pictures of Abdoulaye Doucouré back in full training. Does it mean he'll start on Sunday? Look, ultimately it's a risk, isn't it? And I think he'd probably be available for Sunday. Carlo Ancelotti's press conference is at 2:30 today, by the way. A little bit of a late one today. Usually it's about 1:15, but a bit of a late one. So we'll find out whether Doucouré is going to be involved or not. I would assume Ancelotti will say he's available, but we don't know whether we'll start him yet, because he's only just coming back from an injury. Again, it's one of them, isn't it? It's sort of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. You're sort of looking at it thinking, well, if you throw Doucouré in, then you run the risk of him picking up an injury. You run the risk of him further damaging his foot and ultimately then spending not only the rest of this season out, but even maybe into next season, which we can't afford. And then you'd also think, well, if he's fit enough to be on the bench, then shouldn't he just be starting? Because let's be honest, it's not like we can afford to not have him in this team if he's 100% fit. So it's one of them. And it's same old Everton says, hello Cameron, rumours suggest that Everton are interested in Sander Berg. Would you sign him? Look, I like Sander Berg. I think he's a good player. Technically he's a good player. I don't think he's exactly what we need, to be honest with you. I don't think he's got the energy that we need. I just think we need a central midfielder who's a little bit more like Abdoulaye Doucouré. I like Sander Berg, I do. And don't get me wrong, he probably would fit straight into our midfield and probably improve our midfield massively. But again, I'm not too sure what we I'm not sure if it's exactly what we need. Niall says, I thought it was at 1:30. It is at 1:30. I've just checked the Everton YouTube. The Everton YouTube have got it scheduled for 2:30, but then when you go in the description, it says live from 1:30 BST. So it is 1:30. My apologies. That's Carlos' press conference, of course. Luke says, we can't let Antonio do what Watkins did to us. Exactly, mate. Exactly my point. Niall says, was just watching your video. Thank you very much, mate. I hope you enjoyed it. Little weekly news roundup on a Friday, like the good old days. Evertonian Luke says, how are we, Cam? I love that Almiron from Newcastle. He's direct. I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, he's a good player. I struggle. I think he struggles with consistency a little bit. But he's, again, we haven't. I had this conversation the other day with Baz and Pedants on TV. We haven't got wingers. You can talk about Richarlison, you can talk about Alex Iwobi. We have not got a winger in this club. We haven't got one winger. Not one winger who we've got players that will play on the wing and won't play well there because they're not wingers, but we haven't got one natural winger. Jason says, hi Cam, I hope we win against West Ham, but I would probably root for them to make Europe so the Big Six don't get into Europe. Jason also says, Big Six, what a laugh, I was cheering on Villarreal last night. Yeah, Arsenal are terrible, aren't they? AXM says, there's no way we win this game, we are average in every area of the pitch. I have one player that can score with his feet and he is injured 50% of the time. It's a terrible team at the moment. Cam, can't disagree with that, mate. And Lee says, I remember talking Jesse Lingard coming to Everton on loan at one point, seemed to be a no overall from Everton fans on social media, but an opportunity missed for the Blues. You think now? Absolutely, mate. He is exactly what we need. And again, I'm not going to sit here and play the I always wanted him card, because I didn't, mate. I was one of them Blues on social media who said no, I don't want him, I don't think he's good enough, I don't think he improves this team. But hindsight is a wonderful thing, and ultimately the hindsight in this situation is that he absolutely improves this Everton team and he's exactly what we need. But it's too late, isn't it? Just on West Ham then, obviously they've had a massive injury who we haven't even talked about yet, Declan Rice, who's been out for the last couple of weeks or so, and he was a player who, when he got injured, I think a lot of West Ham fans and a lot of other football fans sort of thought, is this going to be the time where West Ham fall off now? You know, is the injury to Declan Rice going to sort of put a bit of a spanner in their works, and are they going to start to lose form? And again, they lost to Chelsea, I think, which, you know, ultimately, look, Chelsea are a very, very good side, as proven, Champions League finalists now. But it hasn't really affected them, and over the last couple of games or so, specifically the last one against Burnley, they had Lanzini in the middle of the park. Now, Lanzini is a player you would associate a little bit like probably a Hammers, if you like, as a you know, an attacker, a creator, gets forward, can create goals, can score goals, can get assists. He's technically a very, very good footballer. He's not the type of player who you'd associate with being a sort of defensive central midfield player next to Souček. But he's stepped in and he's done a job for them there. Has he looked the most comfortable? No, because that's not his position. But if anything is evidence of what West Ham are at the moment, is the fact that David Moyes can put somebody like a Lanzini in a central mid position where he's not best suited and still get decent performances out of him. If you'd have said to me 6 months ago, Manuel Lanzini will be playing as a defensive player, I'd say he'd get bounced off the park. He's not strong enough, he's not big enough, he's not defensive minded, but he stepped in and he's done a decent job there over the last, you know, sort of game or so. So again, something worth noting. This, you know, their forward line, Antonio, Jesse Lingard, obviously the midfield, Souček, like I said, Lanzini in there as well. I've got Cresswell, Soufal. Did a good side, West Ham, and I can't lie, I am a little bit worried for this one. Anyway, we're going to get into our predicted start 11. We'll get straight into it then, because why not? Why not, basically? In goal, I've gone for Jordan Pickford. Yeah, again, absolutely excellent against Arsenal. Made an unbelievable save in the Arsenal game to keep us in it. Brilliant against Aston Villa. The only really good player in an Everton shirt, to be honest with you. Let's be perfectly honest. He kept that scoreline down massively. It could have been 4-5-6-1 on any other given day to Aston Villa, but Jordan Pickford kept the scoreline down brilliantly. He was absolutely fantastic. I think Jordan's had a real turn in form recently. I think he's matured an awful lot. I think since the Merseyside derby, he's stopped making those silly mistakes. He's stopped sort of, you know, losing concentration. He seems a lot more concentrated. He seems a lot more focused. And like I said, the word I'd describe it is maturity. He seems a lot more mature now. And he's been absolutely fantastic recently. He really, really has. So I'm going for Jordan Pickford. I'm going to go for a formation that I don't like, to be honest with you. I don't like, and I hate I hate when Everton play, because I don't think we can play it. But the reality of the situation is that without this formation, Everton have no width whatsoever. Absolutely no width. And as we've seen, if you're going to start a team, if you're going to play a team and a formation and a tactic with no width, then you absolutely need mobile midfielders. And we haven't got, with the exception of Abdoulaye Doucouré, who's out injured. For as good as Alan is, for as good as Sigurdsson might be, no, we have no mobile midfielders whatsoever. So I'm going with a 5 at the back. Bear with me. I'm going for Luca Dean at left back. Again, obviously, he's come out this week and spoke about how, you know, how much he loves Everton, how much he loves Evertonians, how much he loves the club and being here. Again, he's had a decent season this season, Luca Dean. Not his best, certainly to his standards. You would have wanted and maybe expected him to chip in with goals. He hasn't scored at all this season. Again, you know, I think he's got the joint most assists from any defender in the Premier League, along with Alan Cresswell. So assists-wise, he's having a decent season. He's creating opportunities as well. So, look, again, There's nobody else, There's nobody else to go on this. I've gone with Luca Dean. I've gone with the centre-back three of Ben Godfrey, Yerry Mina and Mason Holgate. Now, hear me out on Mason Holgate. Hear me out, please, before you click off and go, he's talking crap, mate, Mason Holgate. Hear me out. Ben Godfrey on the left-hand side. Now, the reality of the situation is, I don't know why when Ben Godfrey's on that pitch in a centre-back partnership of two, he's playing on the right-hand side. Because we've already established this season that Ben Godfrey is more than comfortable playing on his left side. He's more than comfortable playing on his left foot. He played left back for 2 or 3 months when Luca Dean was out injured, and he looked like a natural left back. So if you've got a player there who clearly struggles when playing on the left hand side, like Mason Holgate does, and clearly is better playing on the right hand side, then just have Ben Godfrey as a left centre back. Just have him there. He's more likely to slot in to cover Luca Dean if he goes belting down the wing, because he's an intelligent player than Mason is. I think Mason had just sort of loses his head a little bit, and like I said, he can play on that left hand side of the defence. So I'm going for Mason Holgate at left centre back in the back three. I've gone for Yerry Mina in the middle. Yerry Mina absolutely has to start this game 100%. Michael Antonio, put it this way, Michael Antonio will have a field day against Michael Keane, probably Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate as well. Absolute field day against the three of them. Yerry Mina is the only centre-half that I would be confident in saying now that would be able to deal with Michael Antonio's physicality. He can rough him up a little bit. He can let him know he's there. He can let him know that he's not going to have an easy game. It's not going to be comfortable for him. Yerry Mina, for me, obviously, he should have started against Aston Villa. He didn't start against Aston Villa, and that's a decision that the manager took, but he should have come on against Aston Villa 20 minutes in when it was clear that we were playing awfully, but he has to start this game for me. Absolutely has to start this game. So Yerry Mina in the centre, and then I've gone at the centre of the back three, and then I've gone with Mason Holgate. Look, I know, that people will say, oh, he made another mistake the other day and he's cocky and he's too confident and this, that and the other, he's not good enough. I get it, but the reality of the situation is Michael Keane can't play in the back three. He just absolutely can't play. I don't think Mason Holgate's much better, but I think Mason Holgate is slightly more comfortable in a back three than Michael Keane is, and the reality of the situation is we need to play a back three. Without Abdoulaye Doucouré in this midfield, and I get that he's back in full team training now and there is a possibility that he might start, I'm going to go with the fact that he won't. I'm going to go with the assumption that he won't start, just on the basis that he's only just returning to first team training and that it would be a risk. Would I be surprised if he does? Absolutely not. Do I want him to start? Again, 50-50. Look, if he starts and he plays the rest of the season and he doesn't pick up a further injury, then it's great and he's needed. But if he starts and within 20 minutes his foot goes again and then he's out for a further 6-7 months, then we're saying, why did we start him? So it's one of them, isn't it? But like I said, Michael Keane absolutely can't play in a back three. He can't do it. He's not confident in there. He gets confused. He doesn't know what his role is. He doesn't know what his job is. He can't do it. And ultimately, we need to play with a back three to allow wing backs. Otherwise, we've got no width and we've got no mobility in the centre of midfield. So I've gone with Mason. Again, Mason probably doesn't really deserve to be in there, and he's very lucky to be in there. But he's in there off the basis that Michael Keane, I don't think, can do it, and we need to play this formation for me. And we've played this formation a lot away from home as well, to be fair, so I do think Carlo will go with it. Right back, I've gone with Seamus Coleman. Again, I think he's at fault for Villa's second goal, to be honest with you. Why an experienced right back is standing off a player and practically saying, go on, hit it there, hit it. Look at that space there on that side of me. I've already got Jordan Pickford blindsided, so if you hit it there, it'll go in. Why he didn't just step up and challenge and sort of step up and put the foot on him, I don't know, because it would have forced El Ghazi into making a decision, and that decision would have probably been to either pass it or try and take it round him, and then he could have got a tackle in. Why he just stopped and waited and allowed him to shoot from there is a stupid mistake by Seamus Coleman, and not a mistake that you would think a seasoned professional like him would make. But the reality of the situation is with Seamus is that we have no other right back. Again, we talk about right back being a necessity. Seamus Coleman has to play this game. We've got nobody else that can play this game whatsoever. So Seamus Coleman in there at right back. Midfield three, I've gone with Alan and Tom Davis in the middle. Again, I'm going off the basis that Abdoulaye Doucouré will be given that little bit of a rest. Maybe he'll start on the bench. Maybe he'll come. Onto the pitch, halfway through the game. So I've gone with Alan in there again. I think, look, Alan has struggled in the last couple of weeks or so because he's being asked to do that Abdoulaye Doucouré role, because he's being asked to do an awful lot more, which, again, I do feel a little bit for him, because ultimately He's not got the energy, he's not got the sort of physicality to do that Abdoulaye Doucouré has, but ultimately Alan has to be in there, doesn't he, if he's fit. And I've gone with Tom Davies again. I'm sick of seeing Andre Gomes week in, week out, not do anything, not bring anything to the team, not bring any assists, not bring any goals, crap defensively, not mobile enough, passing's not that great. I'm just sick of seeing Andre Gomes doing nothing, and then I'm sick of seeing Gylfi Sigurdsson as a central midfielder doing nothing. As an attacking midfielder, a calm number 10, whatever you want to call it, fine, he's effective there, but as a central midfielder, I'm just sick of Gylfi Sigurdsson doing very little. I'm sick of Fabian Delph coming on, and because he's, what's the point? So I want to see Tom Davies in there. Tom's done absolutely nothing wrong. He was excellent in the Merseyside derby. He's been very, very good in the recent weeks that he's played. And I to be honest, I really, really don't know why he's not playing. I don't know why he's not starting, and I don't know why he's not coming off the bench. So I want Tom Davies in there. I've gone with James in the 10. Obviously, the hope that James is fit and he's got over that calf injury that he had before the game against Aston Villa, which of course he got injured in the warm-up and he couldn't play in that game. The hope is that he's recovered from that. We don't know. We'll know at half one when Carlo Ancelotti has his pre-game press conference, but the hope is that he has recovered. So I've gone with James in the 10. Again, look, West Ham are a side that are very, very difficult to break down defensively. They're good enough. Again, I think West Ham are a team that in one, it's mad because in one hand they're difficult to break down, and in another hand sometimes I think they lose the bottle a little bit, and you've seen them concede 3 to Arsenal, you've seen them concede 2 the week after, they conceded to Burnley last week. So I think it's mad because I think they're solid, but I also think sometimes they go to like jelly a little bit, and Everton need to be able to take advantage of that if that happens on Sunday, and you have to have James Rodriguez in there to do that. You absolutely have to have James in there because he's got that quality, he's got that ability to thread a final ball, to get Dominic Calvert-Lewin one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And then, like I said, up front, I've gone with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Pair of them need to improve. Dom, he got his goal the other day, which is great, and it'll give him a crap load of confidence going into this one, hopefully, and that's exactly what he needed. He's needed the goal for a few weeks now, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, so I'm made up for him that he got that goal. Richarlison, look, he's not had a good season whatsoever, has he really? Let's be honest, Richie hasn't had a great season, and Richie needs to improve massively going into next season, but hopefully, in this game, he can... hopefully he can turn up and he can start to put some of those chances away that he had. Look, the reality of the situation is no one's confident for this one. We're coming up against a very informed West Ham team who are on the brink of finishing in the European competition at the end of the Premier League season, and Everton are shite at the moment. We get no consistency, there's no mobility, there's no movement, we're just crap. So the reality of the situation is no one's really confident for this one. I'm more confident because we're away from home and we've got a much, much, much better away record than we have a home record. But I still think it's going to be an extremely difficult game of football. We're coming up against a well-oiled team, ultimately, and Everton at the moment aren't very well-oiled and aren't really playing as a team either. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. Stephen says, I hope King gets a game. I don't think he will, to be honest with you, mate. Jason says King won't play. Why we signed him, I don't know exactly. Nal says thought it was half when it is. Lavin says I'd take top 7 now. I'd take top 7, mate, but whether we get it or not's a different question. Stephen says can't wait till the season finishes. Yeah, me too, mate. Austin says no one wanted Lingard because of his dancing. Lisa's dancing. I didn't want mine to do with Jesse Lingard. Wasn't nothing to do with his personality, by the way. I'm not. Listen, if you're dancing, I'm not arsed. I've never been one of these people that are arsed about personalities or listen. Footballers are human beings. Let them do what they're doing. I didn't want Jesse Lingard because I didn't think he was good enough. I didn't think he'd come in and make an impact. Every time I'd seen him for Manchester United, he just didn't look good enough. He didn't really look focused on the game. He didn't look like he was, wanting to make an impression. He didn't look like he had that fire in his belly, whereas now for West Ham he has got that fire in his belly, and he still does the dances, he's still doing his own thing, but now everyone's talking about how good of a footballer he is. So it's not about his personality or what he does off the field or him as a person. You need personalities, you need big characters in the team, in the squad. It's about his impact as a footballer, and his impact as a footballer at Man United wasn't good enough. He's gone to West Ham and it now is good enough. Lavit says I would leave Holgate out for his own sake, although I'm not sure what my defence would be. Definitely Mina. Exactly, mate, that's what I mean. It's a sort of, it's one of them, innit, with Mason, because listen, if we were playing a back 2, I'd leave him out. I'd have Mina and Godfrey in there, and I'd leave Holgate and Keane out, to be honest with you. But we're not playing a back 2. We'll probably play a back 5. Again, we might play a back 2, but I would assume we'll play a back 5 for width, and then I don't think Michael Keane can play in a back five, as we saw against Tottenham. So, look, who knows? Lavitt says Holgate is one for the future, but his confidence will be wrecked now. Yeah, Lee says, after the last game, I reckon Holgate should be left back in the changing room. Stephen says, DCL and Richarlison isn't working, let's try something different. And Keaton says, hey Cam, how you doing? I'm all good, Keaton, mate, how you doing? Hope you're doing well, see the channel, smashing it, well done, mate. Again, I get when we say DCL and Richarlison aren't working, so let's say something different, but what's different ultimately? Maybe Josh King, yeah, but he's not going to start Josh King, so it's pointless us even inviting the conversation because it's not going to happen. So it's not like we've got many other options, is it? Let's be honest. Anyway, look, we're going to finish it there then. It'll be an extremely difficult game on Sunday. Is it one we can win? Look, with Everton, so I wouldn't put it past us going out and putting in an unbelievable performance and winning, and then turning up against Sheffield United the week after and losing. I just wouldn't put it past us. But if we don't win, then Europe is, if it wasn't already buried, it's nailed into the ground with soil on top, and it's definitely buried if we don't win this game. If we do win this game, then again, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but let's understand that we still are within touching distance of Europe, still with the game in hand, but we've got to keep it up then. Absolutely got to keep it up. For Everton to finish in Europe, I think we need to win every single game before the Manchester City game, and then we'll see where we are then, including this one against West Ham. But it's going to be an extremely difficult game, of course it is. If you enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Big thanks for watching. Like I said, we did do a weekly news roundup a little bit earlier on. We talk about all of the latest Everton news, talk about some transfer rumours, Max Aarons, Luca Dean, Alan, fixtures as well, so don't forget to check that out if you haven't already. Really do appreciate it. Also, don't forget to check out the Football News 365. That keeps you up to date with all your latest Everton news, scores, predictions and stuff. It is free to download. It's available on iOS and iTunes in the description. If you click the top link in the description and download it, it helps out the channel massively as well. So if you could do that, only takes a couple of seconds, and you get all your notifications about Everton, so really would appreciate that. But yeah, look, massive thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. We will be back, of course, on Sunday with the instant match reaction and the player ratings after this one, so hopefully it's a positive one. Hopefully we're talking about a win. But yeah, let's wait and see. Keane says, I have a feeling Carlo was going to play 5 at the back. Yeah, me too, mate. I think Carlo is probably likely to go with that, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait for half one. Carlo's press conference is in about 40 minutes time, so we'll hear some news about Decore, I assume, some news about James, some news about the formation as well, so we'll wait and see for that one. Big thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you soon on The Mighty Blues.